Alright guys, I hope you're all doing pretty good. In today's video, I'm so happy to be sharing our first look at what almost everyone has been waiting for from this upcoming game, or basically just from any upcoming game since it's just a much wanted feature, and that is the single player campaign of the Swat FPS game Ready or Not. You'll be able to command your squad of AIs in missions across the world, and they just shared the first gameplay video on it, so we're gonna react to it and stay tuned after that for all the new details on it. Alright, let's see how it looks. Pretty excited to see how it has changed with that partnership, that publisher partnership that could change everything with Team 14, I think, Team 17.
Civilian, fall in. Falling in. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Drop the weapons now.
Okay. Already looks pretty good.
Drop your weapon. Drop your weapon. Kicking the door. Flashbang out. Suspect spotted.
I love the voices.
Drop your weapon.
It feels statical, even if it's AI.
Bang out.
The AI in this game has to be perfect, especially your squad, because it's a make or break.
Open and clear. Doors unlocked. Disarm it. Disarming trap.
So you can give commands to your squad.
Trap disarmed. Checking. Pick the lock. Lock's open. Cuff him. Arresting the target.
Awesome.
Anything to you.
The levels look really good.
Cover me. Covering.
They're different than
Fall in.
other tactical shooters of today. It's like Rainbow Six Vegas. That's what I liked about it. The levels. Alright, looks pretty good. Let me know what you guys think. So, let me know what you guys think of our very first look at the single player element of Ready or Not. The team has made so much progress through the last months, and it's awesome to see it all in action through the game's development updates. One major thing to note too is that Void Interactive, the developers, partnered with the publisher Team 17 to bring Ready or Not to life with a massive budget, advanced features, and also gameplay features that were never meant to be implemented before because of the lack of budget, but now they can implement it. Team 17 is also the publisher of the successful World War II game Hell Let Loose, so that gives you an idea that they're actually legit. Now here's what Void Interactive told us about this single player footage or campaign. For today's briefing, we wanted to show some gameplay of the single player squad AI in action. During the game's career mode, which is the single player campaign when playing by yourself, you'll be relying on the squad AI to watch your back, protect you, and follow your orders to execute the missions as effectively as possible. In handling their responsibilities, it is important the squad AI strikes a delicate balance between being competent without holding the player's hand. If the SWAT team can handle the mission without any input from the player, it makes the mission too easy. But if the player has to babysit them, they'll end up frustrated and wondering why they're here in the first place. This balance point has been difficult to achieve, but with consistent efforts refining and iterating upon the squad AI, they believe that they've made a team that can handle itself but functions best with the steady hand and leadership of the player to guide them. You can divide your officers to have them cover different entrances, coordinate them to breach at the same time, and then proceed to arrest suspects that have surrendered. Or you can go to the head of the stack and lead the breach yourself. The player is given a variety of options about how to best tackle the dangerous and delicate situations they'll be confronted with. In Ready or Not, every encounter is defined by the presence or lack of a suspect beyond the next threshold. Is there a suspect in the next room? If so, is he armed? What weapon is he using? Does he have a hostage? Does he have friends there waiting for you? Managing your squad members and the behavior of civilians both play a large part in the core gameplay loop. But the majority of decisions that a player makes in a level will revolve around when and where they find suspects. Because suspect interaction is vital to a police shooter like Ready or Not, the game's suspect AI has been crafted with immersion and variety foremost in mind. A suspect background, experience, and motivation will determine the equipment they have, as well as how likely they are to surrender or respond to force. More experienced suspects will put up a harder fight and might have gear designed to counter the tools that you've come to rely on: gas masks for tear gas, wielding masks or goggles for flashbangs, body armor for beanbag rounds and bullets, and more. The lower tier suspects simply staging a robbery by contrast will likely be far less prepared and surrender when the pressure gets to be too much. The challenge that suspects pose is not just in their potential lethality, but in how they force the player to react and make choices. It is in the hands of the player to determine when getting a suspect to surrender is unfeasible and when lethal force is a necessity. As preservation of life is of the utmost importance, deciding how to handle potentially dangerous and volatile suspects will be a cornerstone of Ready or Not. A vital element of any police shooter is also the role civilians play in it. They are what set police shooters aside from other games in the genre and are extremely important in this game, having to account for protecting, managing, and controlling civilians in a potentially hostile or dangerous environment with suspects adds another layer of complexities to each mission. Preparation becomes so much more important. Breaching a room means finding your shots and acting quickly to ensure that in the chaos of a firefight, innocent lives aren't lost. A suspect with a hostage requires an entirely different approach than one who's in a room alone, and absolutely every decision you make towards those civilians will change the outcome of the mission. Because of the importance of civilians to Ready or Not's gameplay loop, having them contribute to the player's immersion is a top priority for the developers. From their animations to their appearance to how they interact with the player, every civilian is crafted with their own background, motivations, desires, and behaviors, says Void Interactive, the developers. With access to over 60 unique items, players are given the tools to tackle any situation. The right combination of weapon optics, muzzle modifications, magazine types, and foregrip variations gives an officer the edge in combat. Alternatively, load up with plates and heavy armor to prevent a quick end at the expense of agility. Officers can also personalize their unit with team-specific patches and uniforms the way you want them to be. I'm really liking how the game is shaping up to be at the moment, and I'm so glad to see how much it has changed. Void Interactive, for the first time since its announcement, are actually focusing on the co-op and single player missions, and not the PvP, which is still a part of the game though. Ready or Not, in my opinion, needs to be all about the missions against AIs and never PvP matches. I've played the alpha in PvP with other content creators and it just felt out of place. Alright guys, that is all for today's video. For more content on Ready or Not or on upcoming games similar to this one, make sure you support this video and of course subscribe to stay tuned. Thanks to Richard Westfall, Bruce Rain 236, Thunderbeard, Kian Zofagari, Rickno23, Diamond Hunter 45, Themistocles, Space Beer Gaming, and Rash Singbati for being a master member on the channel. You can become a survivor member for as low as 99 cents only by clicking the join button below. This will support me and the channel as a whole to continue making videos on the games that truly deserve it.